Hello everyone. Great to be back to talk about the achievement and milestones we have done with Harmony in Q2. We have done a major network upgrade for our network and make headway into the Bitcoin risk hedging, as well as export into the robotics AI. With the protocol now under development to make sure that not only stability but security that help us really plan for years ahead of our capacity for any EVM upgrades, P2P fixes. Our engineers have done well to put Harmony in a great position to know the long-term consensus layers and the application layers with our upgrades. In particular, we have now revamped the entire view change, as well as knowing how to done a much better accounting for the uptime, even when there are minted blocks for the validators. I really want to thank our core engineers as well as consensus algorithms to help put the network in a great position for long-term improvement. Our application team now strictly focus on DeFi, in particular the Bitcoin assets across multiple chains. We have done foundation work in Q1 to know what will be even the baseline as a reference model for all our liquidity provision, not only for the performance, but also doing on-chain analytics to understand how to do the long-term prediction of the return for either passive liquidity provision into stablecoin or aggressive into risky asset of the network tokens or Bitcoin across the networks. So we have comprehensively now analyzed across all the networks what will be the opportunity not just for stablecoins, but now starting with the network tokens like Sonic, Aerodrome as a layer 2 in base, as well as the Hyperliquid. These are the three key networks and the DeFi protocols that Harmony want to look up to think about what will be the cross-chain opportunities if you are really doing portfolio management, wealth management, for treasury management, to think about the long-term value that we're creating for the users when they put in the liquidity, whether as a stablecoin, as a network tokens like one token, or all the way to the long-term portfolio holding of Bitcoin. We do know all of them provide a baseline return. For stablecoin, it really comes to 5 to 10% as the base for stable network products, all the way to aggressive with airdrop incentives and the trading fees to be even as high as 10 to 15. But we know we have done that in Q1 to be as a reference model rather than the aggressive model, what Bitcoin can give the return if you hedge it properly. And hedging properly, it has been our focus to understand why is it so hard to think about the loss versus rebalancing when you are doing the liquidity provision, even in any of the swap pools, lending protocols, leverage, as well as any of the hedged positions. There's no doubt that even after so many years in DeFi, many among ourselves, as well as the research out in the wild in the industry, still are inconclusive, or at least not in the open, and only advertise of high APY without explaining why the vault managers are able to achieve certain performance. And we really set out to not only answer that question, but also provide long-term strategy for Harmony. Now that we have built all the tools, our engineers understand all the trade-offs and verify all the performance and have done the analytics ourselves and compare that to the website, we're in a great position to both realize performance, but also design a product that can help really build for our users. We are still in the development and still want to validate over much longer months of experiments, as well as a validation with the live market, but we are very confident that we're on the right track to build the right DeFi for Harmony users. Both the network and the product are looking great, And the biggest trend of technology that blockchain can be part of, that our generation will really, really have a strong influence, will be about AI, but now into robotics. Through our partner, we are very glad to announce that this quarter, we've looked headway into why robotics data, why community AI models for robotics is really coming sooner than how the developer can come together to help. Myself have done the foundation research about how vision, language, action model, VLA models has now not only allowed robots to just move the arms and do some basic task, but have general understanding of the world, have very interactive and be able to explore any environment for any task to be generalizable, to be useful. It is still a very early research project, but we have managed to engage with a partner to understand what will be the most useful task and what will be the most innovation breaking, even for this year. We have identified the detritus fingers for the robotics will be really what the hardware innovation. The most challenging part will be the software. It will not be about programming it anymore, using assembly language or ROS system or C++ to be command by command, but to think about how to really the high level of demonstration, imitation in the form of learning continuously through experience. Most of the AI in the last 5 years is really through label data, really through human feedback. But now with the robots, let's say in your home, in a retail store, or even as a trainer for your sport, how can they really pick up not just the skill, but the preference when you are the sport partners, sport trainers? Is something that will be really specific to what the AI, not just for digital intelligence, but to think about how to navigate through the physical world. Blockchain can provide many of these primitives to think about all this robotics data, not in the form of just blog posts or how the Q&A are done as the digital text for our chatbot for the last 5 years of AI data, but the robots data in form of demonstrations in terms of how a pair of Meta Ray-Ban glasses will from an ecocentric view to collect very relevant data for any skills with the fingers, whether playing a tabletop games or demonstrating how even any food is prepared. It will be a really new generation of technology now in the physical world, not thinking just about how we are immersed into the digital and online on the screen, but now really manipulating atoms in all the way to be useful in our daily life. As a founder for the Project Harmony, I'm very excited to say the team is still very committed and very focused on bringing values to Harmony community. From maintaining the coming years, if not more than a decade to go for our network, upgrading EVM, upgrading the tooling, we have engineers very focused on what will be the testing framework, infrastructure, DevOps that we need. In thinking about the product, we've explored so many different products, but it comes down to what the DeFi will be useful for any of the asset, any of the liquidity that you would like to be part of in even a cross-chain vaults. We know that Bitcoin is something that would drive this industry this year and more, that our strategy now even more narrow to focus on Bitcoin across the top network of Hyperliquid and Base, Aerodrome, and we've spent enough time in Sonic to understand the new primitives. How to bring it back to the cross-chain into Harmony is something that we would like to do more research and come back to a product that will be launchable globally, especially in US, and to really drive the innovation for more years to come with the AI. We've identified robots and how to think about the life skill and the useful task with the dexterous fingers and arms is something that I'm very, very excited. The team have done a great job with our partners to really drive the innovation. Thank you again for supporting us throughout the years, but exciting time in the 2025. This Q2 has been a great renewed energy for the whole team, and hope the community enjoy our progress. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to take this chance to give you a second quarter update and highlight some of the things that our team has done on the protocol side and share some of the things that we learned on the application side as well. So first of all, I have to say a big thank you to our engineers and our team for the work that they did on the protocol, and as well as all the validators who participated in the latest mainnet upgrade. So we had a mainnet release this quarter that made improvements on consensus and the peer-to-peer layer. And thank you to the engineering team that pushed that through, as well as all the validators who have almost all upgraded within the first weeks of the release. Additionally, I want to mention that our team has been upgrading to the latest Ethereum virtual machine to keep our network compatible with the latest industry standard. It allows us to support any of the existing and up and coming applications. And this was a major upgrade, that a project that required extensive updates to the code base. So on the application side, we have been researching many of the latest decentralized finance applications. So one of the observations that we have about DeFi currently is that even though it's been developing and growing so much, that for many users, it is still very complicated to understand the returns and the rewards that they would earn through different protocols, and to understand the trade-offs or the various parameters and safeties of the protocols. So we have developed some tools to really measure the rewards and returns of different protocols, as well, and that you can see that on our progress page at harmony.one/progress. Also, we've been looking at the challenges of impermanent loss, which has been actually around for a long time in the industry, and in some ways it is a more complex thing than many of the traditional markets that we understand, such as stocks and bonds. So in a way, we're trying to minimize the impact of impermanent loss. And now finally, there are a number of more mature protocols in the form of perpetuals and options that would allow someone or a project to use those tools as a way to hedge some of the risk of being a traditional liquidity provider. So this is an ongoing area of research. In fact, there are many other research papers, ideas about this topic that in some ways it still remains an unsolved problem in this industry, at scale at least. And we are looking at all the different components of this. So that effort is ongoing. And another major initiative that we've undertaken as a team this quarter is we have adopted AI coding tools, including Cursor, Claude Code, Gemini, and OpenAI, all the typical ones that you would have heard of, into the regular workflow of many of our team members. And like many of the other technical teams in Silicon Valley and around the world, we actually observe that it does provide significant productivity and problem solving. And we're continuing to integrate AI to help ensure that we are able to have the most productivity per engineer than ever before. So we do think it is in some ways a golden age for software and product development, because even small teams can now build very larger projects. And we look forward to seeing what we can build together, both with our team and with the developers from our community. So again, if you'd like to follow along, please follow our daily and weekly progress on harmony.one/progress, and follow us on Twitter/X and our monthly newsletters. So thank you again to everyone, and hope you have a great rest of the day.
All right. Q2 2025, 15 to 20% APR on stablecoins, real yields, not subsidies, and unsustainable incentives. Bitcoin strategies targeting 20 to 30%, building the infrastructure that doesn't yet exist. 2025.1 deployed to mainnet, EVM 1.9 complete. We're cracking the code for sustainable yield at a protocol level. First, pretty quick, how did we get here? Most blockchains, you'll see they go through this evolution, usually end up dying the same way, where you have a big launch, huge incentives, treasury runs out, everyone leaves, repeat, go to the next one. There's a few that I've launched recently. But for us, launching in mainnet in 2019, building through bull and bear markets, some things work out, some things don't, evolving approaches through different cycles. Now we're seeing chains make the same old mistakes. Again, massive launches, but then not much else. So there's a lot of subsidizing yields versus real yields, with the incentives stopping, the party stops as well. So we've tried different approaches, trying to go on this idea of sustainability, trying to see what actually works. So Q1, we dove really deep. And then Q2, now we've started to apply these. So first was stablecoins, and then second, we're looking into Bitcoin. So just quickly, kind of the first part of Q2, we had kind of this stablecoin initiative, which is nice because most of the infrastructure for stablecoin yields already exists. So you have Pendle, Beefy, Curve, all of these have built those foundations. We've tested everything thoroughly, found what works. We have results. So we have 15% or more at times are on those stable coins, which is real yield from real activity. Again, trying to find these ways, leveraging the treasury to find sustainable incentives. Now for Bitcoin strategies, it's a bit different. The infrastructure isn't there yet, which is like you have the safe rate for Bitcoin is 2 to 5% about from lending, which is okay, and above the Bitcoin kind of no yield, but we're kind of targeting something more in the 20%. So how do you get there? What we're doing is positions on Airdrome and swap for fees, hyperliquid for hedging, impermanent loss. So overall, a delta neutral to protect capital, experimenting with small longs on the upside. These strategies aren't as tested yet. For some parts, we're building out our own custom infrastructure. But again, these are complex strategies at a protocol level. So now on the technical side, for mainnet, again, we deployed 2025.1 upgrade that brought in kind of quality of life improvements for consensus, validators, boot node reliability, P2P networking, and observability. We strengthened testing infrastructure as well. And then also we added EVM 1.9 to complete kind of base fee opcodes, so contracts can see current gas prices, access lists, pre-declare storage, you get to save gas, kind of overall more efficiency for contract execution. We've also added IP 2718, bring in type transactions, the type transaction envelopes before every transaction, whether you're just sending one or you have a complex smart contract using the same format, same structure, and same limitations. So each one complex or just sending one is the same. But now with transaction types like type 0 for legacy transactions, type 3 for blob transactions, I think there's like more than 100. You can specify exactly what your intentions are. And again, the efficiency of the contract, gas saving and optimization come through that. So why these kind of upgrades matter? What should you take away from it? The big things are network stability, efficiency in gas costs, continuing to build an infrastructure that lasts. Validators have enabled the upgrade following a majority implementation. What's next? We've got early Q3 is all about testing, again, for these BTC strategies, making sure that they're all bulletproof. We're not rushing this. A bad strategy is very different on a dApp level compared to a protocol level, again, with the major connotation of protocol sustainability. Using those treasury funds in these locations, then come back to the ecosystem. Also worth mentioning Snapshot X. So a lot of you on Harmony are used to probably the Snapshot kind of off-chain service. Snapshot X offers an on-chain governance for Harmony. Research and integrations are going well with an early target of Q3. There are also 2 new proposals on the talk forum for additional recovery partners. I know timelines in crypto are a bit interesting, but we're making real progress in terms of the implementation, and soon we'll see on-chain voting for Harmony. So with these updates on the protocol side, kind of strategy side, put together for developers, it's a focus on building an infrastructure that lasts. So again, combining all of the benefits from Ethereum with fees like Solana. For validators, major implementations like the 2025.1.1 showing alignment are, again, one of the longest standing active validator ecosystems in the entire industry. For the ecosystem, all this progress is towards a treasury that grows and creates stability, not kind of these boom and busts that we've seen throughout the cycle. As always, all the research and tooling is open source. You can check the Harmony repo on GitHub, and then also it's worth noting that nothing is publicly released as a product yet, so proceed with caution if you're exploring. It's all there if you want to test out the strategies, see kind of the thought process behind it as well. Pieces are coming together. So quick recap for Q2. Q2, we built the foundation. So stablecoin strategies tested and implemented. Bitcoin strategies are underway. The protocol has been upgraded. So for Q3, continuing this push towards finalizing the Bitcoin treasury sustainability for the protocol, but also for the ecosystem funding. Because again, the whole push towards sustainability, these recurring yields and funds, we want them to funnel back into the ecosystem in a sustainable way that is perpetual. As the industry matures, it's not really about who has the biggest launch anymore. You kind of see every few years you have these different chains that try to push the envelope in a unique way, which is great to see, but it's always the bigger question is who's still building in 10 years. So we've really found that if you have a treasury and ecosystem kind of perpetual funding that is kind of a bit away from transaction fees, which again, extracting from users, but something that's more of a supplement to that process, is an excellent way to perpetuate a chain perceivably forever. So that's kind of these initial phases. Stablecoins really getting down to the original value for crypto, which was DeFi. So again, stablecoins, that's been kind of tried, tested, and we've been down to the depths. Again, please go to the GitHub. But then the next part is Bitcoin implementation. So in Q3, that's what we're looking to, again, go further and make sure that we check and recheck all the parameters, and then eventually open it up for funding side, but also potentially the advanced strategies for all the users.